This podcast brought to you by Ring. With Ring cameras, you can check on your pets to catch them in the act.
Izzy, drop that.
Or just keep them company.
Aw, I'll be home soon.
Make sure they're okay while you're away with Ring. Learn more at ring.com/pets.
The IKEA Business Network is now open for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Join for free today to get access to interior design services to help you make the most of your workspace, employee well-being benefits to help you and your people grow, and amazing discounts on travel, insurance, and IKEA purchases, deliveries, and more. Take your small business to the next level when you sign up for the IKEA Business Network for free today by searching IKEA Business Network.
Hey guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to the Trading Coach Podcast. Thank you as always for joining. Today, got a cool topic in store. We're going to talk about some changes that you need to be aware of as a trader, particularly before you start trading, and what you can do so that you don't fall back into that trap while you're trading. This is going to be more common than you would think. But before we hop into it, I want to remind you guys, August 13th, we are kicking off our free online trading workshop. If you haven't been to one before, ask somebody. It is a show. It is an event. It's not the boring schmoring stuff that you see online where we just blandly walk you through PowerPoint slides, or we just bring you in to talk about a super secret strategy that's going to make you $1 million. No, we're actually working with you on what you want to learn and trying to help you become a consistently profitable trader. So it's an awesome event. Make sure you register. Seats are going to be limited. What I mean by that is we will send out an email so that you can log into the live sessions each and every day, but we're going to cap the room at a certain amount. So if you don't log in early, you're not going to be allowed in. And also, if you can't make it and you want the recordings, you need to register. That way we have a place to send you the recordings after each event is, or each day of the event is over. So make sure you register. I'll put a link in the show notes below. Now let's get started. So as you can tell, I'm in a really good mood today, and it's because today was an interesting day, right? So typically, my wake up time for trading is anywhere between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. It depends on seasonality, the time of the year. The summer is slower than most parts of the year, so I can afford to sleep in a little bit longer because there's not as much action in the market. And it depends on what I have on the radar. If there are trades that I'm tracking from the night before, I want to get up early. That way I can give myself the best chance to get involved. If the market has given us a nothing burger, as George said this morning, then I can sleep a little bit later. And today we had a Bank of England interest rate change. They slashed their interest rate at 7 a.m. this morning, or it was announced at 7 a.m. this morning. And because it was announced at 7 a.m. this morning, this is one of those high impact news events that I don't want any parts of while it's going on. There was no need to do any top-down analysis. I figured I'd come in. We have the interest rate decision. We have the person speaking later. After all the dust settles, then I'll come in, do my analysis, and kind of get my eye for the market. So I allowed myself to sleep in. Wait for it. This is going to surprise you. Until 6:17 this morning. 17 extra minutes, and man, those 17 extra minutes make a difference, especially if you're someone that has kids that wake you up in the middle of the night because their big toe slipped out from under the blanket and only mommy or daddy can come and fix it. You can't just pull it up yourself. 17 minutes is a blessing. So in a really good mood because of that. But what it also allowed me to do was get onto the chat and really mingle with some of the traders instead of worrying about doing my analysis and setting up for the live room. And I got a really cool question this morning. The question said, Akil, I just finished my back testing on the dollar yen. The first 5 years, and I quote this, were super duper profitable with barely any drawdown, right? Maybe a little too good to be true, right? But then, right, here it comes, right? The next 5 years, not so much. Now, overall, the data says that the dollar yen is profitable, but I'm afraid of how it performed more recently. Laugh out loud, advise, please. So what the trader is talking about is this, right? The backtesting process is a process where we take our strategy through historical data to track it, to look for any changes we can make, but essentially to see if it's profitable. And this trader did 10 years of backtesting. So they went back to, I don't know what particular years they did, but assuming they're ending in 2024, they went back to 2014. And what they saw was that the first 5 years of this strategy on this particular pair were amazing. The 5 years after that were not. And it paints a little bit of an interesting picture. And this is why it's great to go through the journey with manual backtesting instead of just plugging everything into a machine and having it spit numbers out for you. Because if you were just to look at the results, right? And she did show me this, but if she just showed me the end results, I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, look at that, trade it, man. Like, it's profitable. Let's do it. But the reality is it was only profitable, extremely profitable for those first 5 years, but extremely not profitable for those next 5 years, right? So you're basically trading something that's in a massive losing streak. And the question is, what do I do? Do I keep it because it's a profitable pair? Do I dump it because of the recency bias? Now, I do always think that we need to take recency bias over, so something that happened in the last 2 years is going to be more important than something that happened 20 years ago. But I think it's important to understand that market conditions change. And again, this is something that I didn't really know about when I first started trading. This is one of the real-time lessons that I learned. But whether it's the performance of a particular strategy, whether it's the volatility of the market, whether it's the directionality of a market, things do change over time. There have been big differences on how the market acted and reacted back when I started back in 2007 versus how it went in 2014, where volatility was sucked out of the market, versus how it is now. And you need to make sure that your trading strategy can be profitable through all of those periods. Now, I don't mean the same amount of profitability. There are always going to be times where it does great in certain conditions, all the way, there's always going to be times where it does not so well in certain conditions. But in general, if you can do good in your good conditions and you can survive the poor conditions, the conditions that aren't great for the strategy, you've got yourself a strategy that works. The problem comes when you have a strategy that gets destroyed during those bad periods because, well, you may be broke and not have any money left by the time those new periods come. We see this a lot with trend continuation traders, right? Where, traders where maybe you're looking to catch a dip or a pullback and you catch that extremely big move. I'm talking moves that are like 600 pips, 1,000 pips, these monster moves, and they occur quite frequent in the market. But what happens even more frequently are the periods of consolidation. So the chop, where markets are moving sideways. And what happens is during those periods, you're still getting signals for your strategy. And those signals are coming right after each other, and they're coming loss. They're coming in bunches. And what happens with a lot of traders in that situation is that they do good during the great period, and then they give everything back during that choppy period. And then they usually quit or make a mistake or get afraid to enter the next trade, and they miss the next one that would have brought them back into profitability. And that's where the whole psychological stuff comes in handy. So it's an interesting scenario and one that all of us face and all of us need to be aware of. And this was the advice that I gave the trader, right? So typically we're talking about building a portfolio. You don't have to take that route. You can easily trade one strategy on one pair. You can easily trade one pair and trade multiple strategies on it, right? There's endless ways you can be profitable in trading. But if you're going to trade multiple pairs or multiple assets, understand that you don't need to have a particular one in that portfolio, in that basket. Your job is to test all of them that you may consider trading, and then you're going to pick which ones create the best portfolio for you. And I told the trader to do this, right? Think about your pairs as and put them into three categories. So if the pair is a piece of paper that you've balled up for some reason, maybe you're angry, you have three baskets, right? It's like Goldilocks in the three bears, right? One's gonna burn your tongue, one's gonna give you brain freeze, one's gonna be just right, but a little bit different, I guess, right? So 3 baskets. For basket 1, these are the pairs that perform amazing. Not amazing, but good. They're profitable. They don't have any red flags. They're steady. They don't have like 5-year win streaks and 5-year losing streaks. In general, they just perform well. They're profitable. They kind of fit what you want. So throw all those pairs into basket number 1. That's me shooting J's in the basket. I made all of them in case you were wondering. I never miss. So that's basket number 1. Basket number 3, we're going to skip 2 for now. 3, Basket number 3 is where you're going to put all the stinkers, right? The pairs that just like, man, this sucks. Maybe the ones that you did the first 2 years and it lost so much that it's not even worth testing the future 8. These just suck. You know they suck. They have no business of being in your portfolio. All they're going to do is blow you money. So toss those in the basket 3. Made all 3 again, as expected. And then basket 2 is where you're going to put kind of the borderline ones. This is where I would put this dollar yen pair, because it's good, it's profitable, and that means something, but it's not ideal, because who wants to go through 5 years of losing, right? Or this could be a good example of a pair that is, we have ones that are called, I call them steady Freddies, right? I've done videos on this in the past, ones that aren't super profitable, like no way you would trade them by themselves, but they're equity curve boosters, meaning that because they're so consistent and they make a little bit of money, but they don't really lose any, because they're equity curve boosters, they help smooth out the rest of your equity curve. So if you have a violent pair that does like really good for stretches, but in order to do really good, takes on some pretty big drawdowns, adding that steady Freddy to the mix, to the portfolio, helps absorb some of those drawdowns, because as you're losing on whatever pair it is, you're still consistently making money on this. It's kind of similar to like if someone were to invest in, just a kind of a wild example, if someone was going to invest in both crypto and the S&P, right? We know over time what the S&P is going to do, right? It's going to go up. It's not going to wow you. There will be periods of dips, but eventually it will go up again. You kind of know what you get when you invest in the S&P. If you're investing in crypto, let's say Bitcoin has these wild swings where it may go up 50% one month and then it goes down 20% the next day and it goes up and down, right? And while you're trying to absorb those wild swings, specifically like the 20% hit, it's cool to have that little index that you've been, dollar cost averaging into, that is just kind of consistently just churning you money. Not anything super exciting, but it's helping you out. So it's helping keep your head above water. That's why I call it steady Freddies. So you want to find that category of steady Freddies as well. And then what you can do is this. This is where the fun goes. And this is where all the finagling. I don't know if you guys ever saw like the movie Minority Report. I don't know why that comes to mind, but remember they had those fancy computers back then, which is reality now. And I feel old because technology that I saw growing up in movies is now actually here. And anyway, the technology where they had these computers and like they didn't have screens, they had like these Google glasses and they're just moving it around in front of you, doing the whole hand thing, pushing windows to the side, throwing it off here, right? You can build a portfolio like that where you always want to start with obviously your pairs in basket 1, your super dupers, but then maybe you want to see, hey, maybe I just trade my super dupers. Maybe I have enough here that just gets the job done. There's no crazy drawdowns or hits, and boom, this does the thing. Or maybe I need to add some of those steady Freddies, and that's when you go to that second basket and you pull. Which one of these will help? Well, maybe not the 5-year drawdown one, that might not help, but maybe a different one helps, and you can add those to the mix, and you crunch all the numbers, you print out an equity curve, or you develop equity curve on your computer screen, and you just compare and contrast. Now, the second part of the equation is this. So we started talking about kind of, well, what if, and this was the second part of the fear, I guess, what if this happens to another pair, right? What if I have my super duper pairs, my ones that did great during all of the back testing, but all of a sudden I'm trading them live and, market conditions change and now they're not performing like they used to. What do I do? How do I handle that? How do I know it? And this is kind of a fear of the future, right? The cool thing about trading is that with historical data, we have access to all of the history of the market. We know the market's tendencies. We know what it does. It's a lot of information. The bad thing is that information doesn't necessarily predict what's happening going forward. Now, there's the argument out there that back testing is horrible because, past blah, 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 blah doesn't predict the future. And yeah, you're right. But my question to you is, what is a better option? I'll wait. Still waiting. I don't hear you. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought, right? There are no better options. So we're just taking the best option that we have available. But while you're trading live, right, the job isn't done. You just don't trade live and make money and it's all good, right? We need to be consistently tracking our trades. We need to be consistently journaling, and we need to be treating our trading like a business. I remember we had this automated system. I hope I get back on track soon. But we had this automated system that we gave the traders, right? It was a level 3 system. It did everything for you, meaning that you just push on and it takes the trades for you. And there were it was partially an experiment as well, because my mentor was under the assumption that you can give traders a fully profitable system and traders will still find a way to F it up, and that is 100% true. So we had about, I don't remember the exact numbers, but let's say half the people trading this system were doing great, they were profitable. The other half, right, they F'd it up. And I remember there was another trader trading a different system. I got my stories confused, but that was a cool message regardless. There was a trader trading another automated system, and I remember that he noticed that there was a glitch in his system. Whatever he programmed was taking like a quarter pip off or something, but it messed up the whole system. And the only reason he caught it is because even though this thing was fully automated, he would come back at the end of every week and double check that it was doing what it was supposed to do. Right? Where there are plenty of traders out there that follow the just set it and forget it type of guideline where, this is automated, it's going to print money, and they never check it. And then before you know it, and this did happen with the first story, so maybe I am on track here. I'm getting confused. I told you I was old, right? There are many traders that won't check it. They'll look at it a year later and then realize it's not profiting the way they want it to, but they never took time to track it and understand why. Where in the first example, where this trader was able to track it, understand what the problem was, fix the problem, and then the system got right on track, other people will just leave it. So even in our manual trading, we need to do the same thing. We shouldn't just be tallying wins and losses, right? We need to be reviewing our data, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly, right? Reviewing our data and making sure everything is running the way that we expect it to run, right? I've had this happened to me a few times in my career where I've had to make adjustments because market conditions have changed. My results weren't meeting my expectations, and I had to dig in and figure out why that was and make the adjustments. Now, sometimes you will figure out why, right? Sometimes, again, if you go back to being a skilled trader, we spoke about this in future podcasts, in previous podcasts, where this is why you want to be a skilled trader, because a skilled trader, you can go in and you can lift up the hood of your car and figure out what's wrong versus kind of just being clueless. If you're just like picking up a strategy from the internet and trading it and have no idea what signal it's telling you or why you're trading it and all that fun stuff. And sometimes you'll be able to figure out what's wrong. If you have a good community like here at Tier 1 Trading, you can bounce ideas off people and say, hey, what do you think about this? What is the solution for that? And you can make an adjustment to survive those down periods or, fix the issue. Or it may be time to move your strategy if it goes on for long enough. It may be time to move that pair, I should say, from basket 1 to basket 2, and it just doesn't make the cut. And maybe there's another pair in basket 2 that does make the cut, and that gets elevated to your main portfolio, right? No different than like a sporting team. If you're not performing well, right, you're going to go to the bench and someone else is going to be the starter. Now, how do you do that? That's going to be on an individual basis. But one thing I would say is this is where you go back to your back tested results. And if you know your norms, and what I mean by your norms is how long your hot streaks last, how long your cold streaks last, you should be able to tell when something is out of whack. So, we'll end on this. What I mean by this is like that. If you have a pair that you've traded and your back tested results show that, hey, I usually take 5 losses in a row. Like this has happened frequently. There's no need to freak out when you take 5 losses in the market in a row, because that is, your strategy told you that it will do that on its path to profitability, right? Now, all of a sudden, you have a 15, 20 trade losing streak on this pair. That's a red flag, because that isn't normal. It's a deviation from what you saw in your testing, and that's when you need to, if you haven't done so already, dig into what the problem is or consider moving that pair to the bench. So, awesome subject. Thank you for the comment. As always, make sure you rate and review the podcast if you haven't already. Make sure you check out the YouTube videos, lots of cool content there, and make sure you register for the upcoming free online trading event. Link in the description box below. See ya.